Innovation pays off.
Very good evening, sir, and welcome to Visheshagya Sammelan Season 2. And thanks a lot, sir, for accepting my invitation for this particular session. That was going to be a very good from your side, and I hope students will be making a lot of like informative session from out of this thing. So,
Sure,
welcome,
I'll
sir.
try to add as much value I can through this session.
Absolutely. So, sir, like I have few questions, got it from one of my students, few of my colleagues, and few students whom we have trained in colleges and schools. So,
Mhm.
like the basic first question they ask is, what is the difference between business and entrepreneurship?
Okay, okay. So normally what I tell them, even I do get this question when I go to colleges especially. So normally I tell them is the question is not difference between business and entrepreneurship. It should be question is between difference between business and startup.
Okay.
Because entrepreneurship is the main vertical. This is how I explain to them. Of course,
Mhm.
there might be many who differ, or maybe others who might agree with what I say.
Yep.
I say business and startups are subsets for entrepreneurship because both are into starting something of your own. Now,
Mhm.
the difference, what I try to tell them is if somebody is starting a business,
Mhm.
so even before they start the business, the main agenda, even the planning itself, is to make money by profits. A simple agenda. Okay? See, you can see many people starting a steel plant or a tire manufacturing company. See, people, when people start this, they don't start this to help others because these are so big projects. They cannot
Mhm.
like NGO. So the basic purpose is to make money by profits. That's how I call them business. Other side startups are those. Of course, here also the money factor is there, but it takes a second place. In startup, the founders look at identifying a problem and trying to solve them so
Okay.
that masses of people get benefit out of it. So, and through that benefit, if they can make it a monetary model, that
Mhm.
becomes a startup for them. So, for example, if you talk about online grocery stores, they identified a problem like, especially with those couples where wife and husband both are working,
Mhm.
it becomes very difficult to get the regular groceries and everything. So, there
Okay.
was a problem which was identified. They saw there were some elderly parents living alone. This could help them. So a lot of scenarios like this came into this online grocery concept. Nowadays we also have online med platforms like pharma and all this. And during this pandemic, if you see, most of them have been very helpful, like Big Basket or you say Farm Easy and all this.
Mhm.
So they were started identifying a problem, and by solving that problem, they were able to make money. So that's how they are startups. That's how I differentiate entrepreneurship, under which two verticals, business and startup.
Okay. So, like, this is very clarifying question, and like a few people who've been confusing on this particular topic would have been cleared by now. So, like, if we want to explain this entrepreneurship to school students who are like hearing these words very oftenly right now in our
Mm.
ecosystem, so how we gonna like let them know what exactly is entrepreneurship?
See, nowadays, as you know, a lot of these kids are addicted to this digital media and everything.
Yeah.
So already they have been reading a lot of articles and everything about this. But if I were to explain entrepreneurship or a startup or business to a kid, I would
Mhm.
do that with the help of storytelling.
Sure.
I would rather tell them or explain them the stories of successful entrepreneurs, like for example, Kazanbhai Patel, who started Nirma,
Hmm.
how the Amul was started, which we call White Revolution,
Exactly.
how Lizzat Papad was formed, one of the first women entrepreneurship verticals in India.
Hmm.
Or if you talk about international, I would talk about Walt Disney, how he started Disney. Or we can talk about Colonel Sanders, how he started McDonald's.
McDonald's.
Sorry, not McDonald's, sorry, KFC.
KFC.
KFC,
KFC.
KFC. Or one of our recent successful entrepreneurs, Baiju Ravindran, who started Baiju's. Okay.
Yeah.
Why I'm talking about these brands are because these brands are very well known in kids. You see, Amul, Lizzat Papad, Walt Disney, KFC, McDonald's, or Baiju's, they're all
Mhm.
well connected to kids. So when you tell the stories of them, they get easily connected. So that I would feel the most effective way of explaining them entrepreneurship. Second thing is, when you're telling them the stories, we always start with the problem they faced, like how Byju's was started or how Nirma was started, what problem they faced. So once you explain the problem, don't tell what happened after that. Ask the kids to come up with solutions. If you were there, what would you have been done?
Mm-hmm.
See, before Nirma detergent powder was launched, Mr. Ghazanbhai Patel saw a problem where a lot of housewives were using a coal or something, or let's say, what do you call this, coconut fiber to clean
Mm-hmm.
the utensils and everything, which was damaging their hands. And after a couple of months, it was hands were used to bleed. So there was a problem identified. He wanted to come up with a solution. So now we can tell the students, was this is the problem. What solution do you prefer? And then after collecting ideas from them, because that will put them on the verge of thinking about solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get all these ideas or suggestions from them, then you tell them what exactly happened. What did Ms. Patel do, or what did Lizard Power team do, or what did Colonel Sanders do? So that's how it's more of explanatory storytelling with solutions. So
Okay.
that's the best way to explain the kids.
Okay. So, like, we all are trapped in this particular scenario called COVID-19.
Yeah,
Came from somewhere we cannot address.
right.
So, like, how you are seeing this ecosystem, like, if will be booming in next few quarters, or how much time will it take to come back on that standalone position where it was left before the COVID had come?
Uh, See, Vaibhav, there are certain sectors which will definitely boom like anything after this COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these sectors would be like transportation. So one would be warehousing or storage.
Okay.
Pharma is one, medicines, pharma delivery or maybe pharma production. Then anything related to medical equipment.
Okay.
Like nowadays, we're all short of sanitizers or N95 masks and all,
Mm-hmm.
hand gloves and everything. Okay. And as you know, the critical patients are nowadays kept on ventilators and everything. So
Yep.
there was a discussion happening last 2 months about building up a low-cost ventilators with or a ventilator where multiple patients can ventilated. A lot of things are going on.
Yes.
So any of these kind will definitely have an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from this, we have something on organic foods because we know people will start only when there's a problem. People will look at eating something fresh or something clean. So organic foods is something which would be there. Then we have online deliveries, whether it is groceries or anything. Digital media will have a good effect
Mm-hmm.
because regular marketing, because a lot of countries even banned the regular newspapers and everything. So digital media will have a huge importance now because what are marketing you need to do or promotions you can want to do, it's all digital media.
Yes.
Nowadays, like we are talking now, every day there is some online training going on, some online discussion going on. So everything is digital media now.
Exactly.
Then we have online education, which will pick up. I don't know if you have saw this news. There was announcement by Government of India. They are starting around 78 TV
The
channels,
channels. Yeah.
TV channels only to on specific subject specific.
Exactly.
We again free education. So definitely when they do this, they might involve like invite some of the local startups to support them. Like it
Mm-hmm.
happened so when Startup India was started, they collaborated with some existing startups. So these are some sectors which have a scope and boom. Some of them are even doing good right now also, even this pandemic, like food deliveries and pharma, they are in
Mm-hmm.
high demand nowadays. Organic foods is one. Okay? I can even give an example. There is a small vegetable store near my house. The Telawala, what he say, he started doing door delivery.
Wow.
He started giving his phone number to nearby houses and saying, you just tell me whatever you want in phone. By afternoon, I deliver it to you.
Wow.
They are not online grocery store, nothing. They are the same places where every day you go.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are moving online. Now, on the other hand, some sectors which will definitely take a lot of time to come back because these sectors are more dependent on how people react. One of them is travel and tourism. Okay. So there might be multiple offers by most of these online platforms to attract more
Mm-hmm.
tourists. Let's say maybe a package which is normally costing 1 lakh, they may start offering it 50,000 also. But the question is, will people are ready to go
Yeah.
because
That's
of
the
the
main point.
fear and everything, and also locations. Okay, because no country is safe right now. Everywhere you can see the pandemic. So travel
Exactly.
and tourism will get affected. Because the travel tourism will get affected, definitely hotel industry will be affected.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one. Then you can also talk about any of these spaces where mass functions happen. Like you can talk about auditoriums, or you can talk about sports events, or you talk about marriage functions.
Yeah.
Because marriages will happen, maybe the way it changed. There was a story recently which came in where a couple got married online. There was a story online also. There was a couple got married online.
Okay.
So the girl was in one country, the guy was in one country. The both parents are in two different cities in India. All of them are online, and the marriage happened. So a lot of things are changing. Then multiplexes and malls are something which will take time to come up.
Okay.
Because even though they might start business, but the crowd, as I said, they want to be safe. Some more industries which might get affected is something which are in HR recruitments, because as you know nowadays a lot of layoffs are happening.
Yeah.
Recruitments will be on a halt, so because of which HR functions might be coming down.
Mhm.
The companies which are into learning and development, which are into open workshops and everything, they will have a delay because we cannot gather people now in a classroom or do sessions. That is one of my verticals because I am into learning and development. So I am personally not expecting any face-to-face training programs in the next couple of months at least.
Yes,
So
sir.
most of us would go on to online mode, like online education. So like this, most of the sectors are segregated. So I don't know if you have seen even companies like online pharma, they started doing grocery deliveries now.
Mm-hmm.
So because they're common in online deliveries, they just changed the product for this time period. So that's how companies are adapting themselves instead of
Even
coming
Zomato
to
also tweeted about that they are delivering vegetables. What about you? There was a meme on Twitter and all.
everybody's changing. Everybody's changing. Some are shutting down and some are getting into different verticals to
Yeah.
just things going on. So moving to different vertical is much better than layoffs or shutting down the company. At least you can survive because this is an understandable situation. Like, yeah.
So what about sir core manufacturing industries? How like they gonna react on this particular situation?
So as per the government norms, there are certain percentage of workforce which can use it. Of course, by maintaining the social distancing norms and everything.
Yes, sir.
Now we have to see. See again, it depends how the companies maintain. Because you cannot expect a government official going regular visits and saying how it happens. Because
Mhm.
everybody have their own work to do. So companies have to take it on moral responsibility, make sure instead of running for profits, do manufacturing something which keeps the business running at least. Okay. See, but definitely they cannot shut it down because if that happens, the country itself will be a problem.
Yeah.
So manufacturing will happen. Like pharma definitely has to go on. Medicines have to be
Mhm.
used. Medical equipment has to be created. Farming has to be done. Right? So thing is, as per government norms, if we follow the given guidelines and everything, is the best thing to continue. And recently, as we can see, our Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has announced a lot of packages and everything.
Yes, sir.
So I think there would be definitely some benefit because I've not gone through all the packages, but I'm sure there are a lot of incentives and schemes for MSMEs, the farming sector, hospitality sector, and everything. So I think yeah, that will go on. It will be a little slow as compared to what used to be there pre-pandemic, but definitely that will keep on going. As we say, the show must go on. It will keep
Let's
on going.
hope it comes back on feed within 2 quarters at least. So, like talking about fundings and the financial grants, what we are getting from the government or what they have announced right now, there is talking about an startup ecosystem. People are a little bit confused about stages of funding, and
Mhm.
like they are not aware of what are the pros and cons of taking funding, why they should take it or why they should not take it, on what stage they should take it. So,
There
can
are
you shed some light on this particular
Okay.
thing?
There are different stages of funding. We call ABC, pre, prototype, and all those things. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'll discuss the engine, right? So normally what happens is when I mentor startups, okay,
Hmm.
I normally do not recommend any external funding unless and until it is absolutely necessary.
Okay.
Okay. See, many startups they feel very excited if XYZ company and putting funds in you, but they forgot one simple fact that is investment, extra investment is coming, but coming investment which is coming, that also means you are giving away some part of your company. It might be
Exactly.
1% stake or 5% stake, whatever it is. You are giving some part of your company. You are giving away some part of your decision making. You are giving away some part of your freedom and related things. So when you are taking in money, you should be ready for all this. Let's say there is a founder who is not very much comfortable in decision making with others. He prefers to take his own decisions on his own logics. He will definitely face a huge problem when he's making decision making in a group. So until unless he becomes ready for that situation, just because of money, if he goes into that's a big problem for them. Okay. Second thing is, so there are a lot of startups which are now called unicorns and everything. Okay.
Yeah.
So normally I tell them, see, what is the purpose of the title of unicorn when you cannot survive without investors' money even for 2-3 months?
Mm-hmm.
Then I don't think they have a right to call themselves successful startup models. Right. Even now you can see during this pandemic, a lot of startups are laying off their employees. A couple of them are shutting down everything.
Yeah.
So I personally don't call it a successful business model. See, I've been economics student. Yeah. So if a manufacturing cost of XYZ thing is 10 rupees, if I sell it for 100 rupees, that is also not correct. If I sell it for say 3-4 rupees, that is also not correct.
True.
Because that,
Yeah.
that does not come into the balance of economics. Okay. So what I would say is, if you see, there are certain products. For example, there is a company which I was mentoring, which is into co-work. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, we were getting good leads. Like we had clients like Oyo, we had clients like Vodafone, we had clients like say PhonePe, and there was a good income which was getting generated. Okay, the company might not be at profits, but we were at break even. We are not also into loss. We are not even into losses. Okay? And at that time, we were approached by a couple of investors putting up money, asking 50% stake and everything. So that was a very risky thing to accept at that time. See, because at that time we're not in need of money, we're able to run our operations and everything, and we're not also planning to expand at that time.
Yeah.
So that was very wrong time to us for accept investment. Let's say, for example, I have a client, X is a client who is operating at my co-work in one city. Now he says, like, I'm happy with your service. I want you to give me space in 5-6 cities more. Now, as a startup, I cannot invest money in 5-6 city spaces. At the same time, I cannot lose my existing client. So if I go for external investment, it makes logic. Because if I don't go for external funding at that time, I might lose business. Then it makes logic. But without any new business in hand, just because somebody is saying I'll invest, accepting it does not make sense. It don't make sense. Okay. On the other hand, let's say there is a company or an entrepreneur who has made a let's say new type of say automobile engine,
Yeah.
or he made some new type of medical equipment. Okay, he has a design. He has now he needs money to mass manufacture it so that
Mm.
people can buy it. Now at this type of stage, he can go for investments because as an individual, he cannot put so much money in setting up the entire factory. Okay, so even at this stage, what I recommend to the people is first you get the patents done. See, there is a process of getting a design patent also. If a prototype is ready, you can get patent also. There are online tutorials available how you can get the patent. Even
Yeah.
Startup India, there is a scheme. If I'm not wrong, I think 80% of your amount get rebated on the patents.
Exactly.
Is
Yes.
there. So you can go through that, get a patent. Then you approach the investor. Then that makes logic. Okay. So then it goes on different stage of funding and everything. There's the next stage. First question is whether do you really require funding at this stage? If yes, how much? There are many people who are not aware about even how to negotiate on funding. See, they say they must have heard there is some company say by giving 5% stake they got investment of say let's say 10 crores. Now
Mm-hmm.
they expect the same to happen in their company also. That does not make sense. Okay, so they need to first understand a lot of people who can help them explain how to negotiate an equity and everything. So when you have too many confusions, they can have a mentor on board who can help them in all these decisions.
Okay.
So that's how the funding things happen. Yeah.
So, sir, what are the role of accelerators and incubators in this particular space?
Sorry, can you come again?
So, what are the roles of an accelerator and incubators in this
Okay.
particular space?
Okay. See, both incubators and accelerators, they have a specific goal to fulfill. One of the main purpose of startup incubators is to help the startups which are mere at idea stage or prototype stage, help them gain some connects with the clientele and everything. Some
Okay.
incubators even help them in advancing their product. Like for example, he might have a video conferencing tool which he had designed already, but it might not be at par with Skype or Google Meet or something. He might some technical advancements. So incubator can help them with that. Okay. There are almost many incubators which work on a non-profit model, but there are many incubators which work on a profit model also. There are incubators which are run by even big large entities like Microsoft or Google and all these people. We also have some like also foundations like Vadvani Foundation. They also run it. NASSCOM has it. On the other hand, accelerators mostly they create a passage between your startup companies and the investors.
Okay.
Apart from that, they also help you in advancing your technology. One more difference is accelerators normally they entertain the startups which are already in the market, or maybe sometimes idea and prototype also, but depending on what type of idea prototype it has, which is something very unique, definitely they will do that. Okay. There are some accelerators which only take you on board if you are at a certain level of income. So which they say, okay, we can take you to the next level. So every incubator, every accelerator comes up with its own rules. There are certain entities which work as both incubators and accelerators. So there are many of them like that. Some of the there are some incubators and accelerators which are industry specific.
Okay.
Like for example, they only incubate or accelerate which are into tech startups, or let's say only into food or only into healthcare. There are a couple of accelerators which only take startups which are into blockchain. So
So
these are industry specific. Industry specific. Okay. So some of the most common accelerators, incubators which you have in India, one is 500 Startups is there, T Labs is there, T Hub is there, NASSCOM Center of Excellence is there, Google Launchpad, then you have Cisco Launchpad, iCreate is there in Gujarat. And one of the most common or famous name across the globe is Y Combinator, which is also created as one of the first accelerator in the world. That's how it's accredited. So a lot of them are there, and each one of them have their own rules. Even Indian Angel Network, IE, and they also have an incubation process.
Okay.
Everybody has a time period, like incubation. Some organizations incubate you for 6 months period, some are for 5 months period, some are for 1 year. So it all depends. So whenever you're choosing incubator accelerator, first understand what they're offering you. Okay. Like what are the programs they're offering? Is that correct accelerator or incubator for you, depending on how your business model is? Okay. So you see the websites, what type of startups came out of that process. Even IITs have incubators, IEMs are supporting startups.
Yes, sir.
So the lot of them are there. So as I said, each one of them have their own specific role and goal.
So, sir, in this particular investment period and investment ecosystem, what are really few terms like crowdfunding and what is like how is exactly working and how people can take benefit out of crowdfunding platforms?
See, as the name suggests itself, crowdfunding. Yeah. That means you are trying to fund a particular project or a startup by raising small amounts of money from large number of people.
Okay.
So it can be 100 rupees from 1 lakh people. It can be even 1 rupee from 1 crore people. It can be anything. It can be anything. That concept is called crowdfunding. Okay. Now, as far as startups is concerned, as per SEBI guidelines and rules, equity funding is not allowed in India in crowdfunding, equity stake.
Okay.
So in some countries it allowed. India as of now it is not allowed. So there's a lot of discussions happening between the SEBI, RBI and crowdfunding pioneers in India. Like how can we bring equity stake and all those things into this. Okay. So normally there are a lot of crowdfunding platforms. Majority of them are more into those fundings which are into charity initiatives. Like say for example you can raise a project to raise funds for let's say blankets for people who are sleeping in the roadside during winters, or anything food requirements for pets like street dogs or something, or maybe raising funds for orphanage, or maybe for some orphanages which are for blind people or something like that. You can raise funds for operating somebody. So these are more into charity initiatives. And there are certain crowdfunding platforms where you can raise funds for a prototypes. Let's say I'm launching a company which is into designer t-shirts. Okay. Now, as per rules, I cannot invite investors giving the equity through crowdfunding platform. But I can ask the crowd to fund my project and I can offer them. Like what happens in these is, of course, those which are into charity projects, you're not offering anything in return. Normally, you offer them a thank you card, you send them thank you card or a coffee mug with thank you, like that, depending on how much amount they are donating. So when you're creating the campaign itself, you can write over there. Many people they write, if you donate 50 rupees, I'll send you a thank you card, e-thank you card basically. If you're donating 1,000 rupees, we will send a thank you with a memento coffee mug or pen stand or something like that. They thank them. So for example, as a company or as a startup, we want to raise funds for my company. So I cannot give share or equity to the investors here. So what I tell crowd is, if you fund me this much, once I start my company, after 6 months, I'll send you one free t-shirt or a
Okay.
special design t-shirt with your name, something like that you can offer. We call them goodies. Okay. So there are a lot of crowdfunding platforms. Keto is one of the most famous for all the charitable things. One of the partners is the actor Kunal Kapoor is one of the founders, co-founders of that.
Okay.
Then we have something called Kickstarter, which is again famous. Then we have Desired Wings. Desired Wings is concentrated more on women-centric entrepreneurship projects and everything. Then we have Catapult, which is very famous crowdfunding platform. I think Catapult comes under top 5 or top 3 in India. Then we have Milap is one of them, the other one. So like
Yeah.
there are a lot of platforms. Okay. So you have to choose which platform meets your requirements. Like why exactly are you raising funds? Okay. And also I think, of course, raising funds in crowdfunding platform is not very simple, because when you create the project, they ask you all the details. Some project, some platforms, you need to create a video of yourself saying
Okay.
why you are raising money. Suppose you're raising money for some unknown person's operation, you might have to take a video recording of the doctor. You have to show a patient's clip. A lot of rules are there, because they also want to make sure people are raising money for the cause what they're talking. They're not misusing this money. So a lot of rules are there which they have to follow. And now when you're creating the project, there is amount which you need to set. You have to say your target amount.
Okay.
Trying to raise 5 lakh rupees. So you put a target amount. So when people have started funding you, you can see how much amount. Like target amount is let's say 5 lakhs. Funding raised 1 lakh 50,000. It comes on the other side of the window. So that's how the platform works. And on the same websites, tutorials are available. So how to raise the campaigns and everything, it's available.
Okay.
So they can use these platforms. Yeah. But if somebody is trying to raise funds as equity stake for startups, as of now, it's not allowed in India.
That's a good, like Intel, nobody I think is aware about this particular thing. Like you cannot take equity in India right now from
No,
crowdfunding.
investors they are about it. They are know about it. Investors they're completely aware about it. Most of the entrepreneurs they don't even know about crowdfunding.
Yes, sir.
Sorry,
Exactly.
and we did the first ever crowdfunding program, like introductory program in cities which we are in. Almost 90% of the people don't know what exactly it is.
Okay.
So we showed
I was,
them a live demo, like how to what do you call create a campaign and everything. We showed them live on the computer, so that's how they understood. We showed them successful projects.
okay.
Then they got an idea how to do
I
that.
hope from this session also they will be aware of like what exactly the crowdfunding is
I
all
hope
about.
so. I hope so. I hope so. Because a lot of people have used crowdfunding platforms to help a lot of people in need.
Yeah.
Even during the pandemic, also you must have seen a lot of projects raised for
Yes.
helping patients or children, or even to feed the street dogs and everything. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of projects have been
Exactly.
raised. Have been raised.
So like so we were hearing a lot about unicorns in business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were knowing like few are a little bit show off unicorns just based on funding they are becoming unicorn, and some are
Yeah.
based on revenues. So what are the difference between these two categories of unicorn, and what are your tips for a startup to become a unicorn in a
So
very small
normally,
period?
normally when somebody comes to me and asks like I want to be unicorn, what should I do? The first thing I tell them is don't target to be unicorn. Okay. Because when you see unicorn, they start giving examples of, as you just mentioned, the brand. Of course, I don't want to take the names of the brands. Just because of
Yes.
investors' money, they are coined as unicorns, but they're not the real unicorns. Because
Yeah.
as we were discussing earlier, in this COVID situation, couple of months they could not survive. They started laying offs.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you seen Nirma laying off? Have you seen Infosys or not Infosys? Sorry, Nirma, Amul laying off, or all these other laying off? For
Yeah.
example, Asian Paints, if you see, I think they're the first company to double the salaries actually of their
They've
employees.
given a raise. Yeah.
Even raise. And Bajaj, Mr. Bajaj has announced like there'll be no pay cuts. No pay cuts. Okay. Of course, they're not startups now, but yeah, that's how the your they call morale should be, whether you're a business or whether you are a startup. Okay. So what I tell them is, First of all, forget about unicorn and everything. As a startup, if you want to be successful, first be innovative. Be innovative. Okay. See, as I said earlier, a business is started with the core purpose of making money.
Yeah.
So not necessarily he's innovative every time. Suppose he is into, say, let's say sugar production. Okay, he might have a new machinery coming up, but the way he produces sugar is always the same. Okay, so there might not be much innovative happen apart from the what you call machines and everything. Okay, but as an entrepreneur, if you're looking at making some difference, be innovative. You have to be creative. Most importantly, be good at customer service. Okay, the founder or the founders or the board, they have to take care of the team and their wellness.
Yeah.
Most importantly, be a problem solver. See, till the time you're able to identify problems in the market and able to solve them with your knowledge and services, you'll always be successful. Okay? The team has to keep upgrading. Suppose, example, the founder themselves have to keep upgrading themselves. They might have to
True.
learn new things. They might have to understand new things, and at the same time motivate their team or also the company to keep upgrading. That's when you cope with the market challenges. Okay? You should be ready for everything. Okay.
True,
So
sir.
what happens is when you do all these things and when you have a situation like COVID thing happen, instead of completely shutting down, you might be successfully running even at 50% profits or 50% margin. Instead of completely shutting down, you'll be able to cope it up. Okay. And most importantly, the teams has to be very much disciplined handling their financial transactions. I have seen many good startups failing just because they could not handle their finances properly. Say they saw a lot of money coming up suddenly and they started misusing the money or quoting higher salaries for themselves and reducing salaries for others or using money for personal luxuries and everything, companies' money. And there have been scenarios like this which actually failed to startups. Okay, so the more caution you are or more disciplined you are in financial transactions, you'll be more successful. Okay,
Okay.
and when you maintain these small things, being creative, being innovative, being problem solver, properly maintaining your monetary things and everything, automatically you will be on the path of being unicorn. See, you don't have somebody to get you certified as unicorn. See, the way you do it works. Okay, tell me, does Amul or Lizard or Nirma or Ratan Tata or say, what they call Infosys, are they really bothered if somebody calls them unicorn or not? They're not bothered.
True.
They know
Exactly.
what they're doing is they know that the customers they're giving what the customers wants and everything. There is more than enough for them. They don't want somebody to come and tell you, hey, you are unicorn now. You are a member of unicorn club. They're not bothered. They're not bothered. Okay, that's what I tell them. Even when I actually code, normally I don't code them examples of Facebook and all these as successful startups for them because normally I quote others. Like I talk about Amul, I talk about Byju's, I talk about what you call the Biocon. Then I talk about Nirma. This is examples we talk about. Even the story of Mr. Narayan Murthy is very interesting and motivating. I talk about that. So I talk about these entrepreneurs because India has been entrepreneurship hub pre-independence itself. Even before Mughals or all this came in, India, as you know, India was called the Golden Parrot.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of interesting stories on Indian entrepreneurship. I used to do a session on ancient Indian science and techniques, where I used to talk about some successful entrepreneurship stories of India, which was some decades back. So yes, we are born in entrepreneurs. That's what I tell. So we have the talent. So we just have to maintain discipline.
Okay. Sir, like, how do we evaluate businesses on the basis of funding or investment they're receiving? Like, valuation, how can we do it? Like, how much you value in the market?
See, on paper, there is no confirmed formula. Like this is how you calculate. Okay. There was a report. I think 1.5 year back. Forbes have released one paper where they have given 8 formulas. You
Okay.
can use it for calculating your valuation. Okay. But nowhere it is written that there's the fixed formulas. You have to stick to that. Okay.
Okay.
Because many times it has happened. Like I've seen startups, they sat with the CA, they did evaluation, everything. For example, I'll give you one example. I've been to one university as a jury for one of the startup competitions. So there was a startup which came up on the board. They explained about all that. They are not at launch start. They're not even launched in the market. They had a prototype ready. They had a mobile app ready. It was more into online education stuff. They had a prototype ready. They're not even in the market. So towards the end of the presentation, he said, "Sir, currently my startup is valued at 2 crores." I said, "How did you come to the valuation? You're not even in the market. You don't even have one single client till now. How are you saying you are 2 crores valuation?" Because he said, "Sir, I sat with my CA and he compared my product with others in the market and he says, yeah, I'm a 2 crores valuation." No, that is not the way you do valuation of product.
True.
Okay. So according to me, the most important valuation is when you have repeat customers. Your customer taking your service, coming back again to take your service and recommending you to other. That is the most important valuation for any business. Any business. Okay. See, because I always say numbers don't tell how successful you are. It's the customers who come back.
Exactly. That is
Customer.
more ethical approach.
Let's say you might have 100 customers, but these 100 customers are not coming back again. You might
Hmm.
have 100 new, but these 100 are not coming back. That means there is something wrong. If these 100 are coming back and also 200 new coming back, that's success. That's
Absolutely.
it. Okay, yeah. But if somebody wants it on paper for your idea, as I said, you can go through these 8 to 9 formulas, which will give you idea. But this is helpful when you have something in the market or you're able to have a couple of clients. Because at idea stage, if you start evaluating, it has of no use to any investor. Okay? Because I've seen a couple of meetings also, I've seen a startup comes with a valuation of 1.5 crore, 2 crore something, which are already in the market. And suddenly the investors say, no, according to me, you're at 50 lakh valuation. Because the way he calculates is different, the way these people are calculating is different.
Hmm.
So that
Exactly.
is the reason, as I was saying earlier, there's no exact formula. But to
Okay.
get an idea, there are 8 to 9 formulas which were given by Forbes. Also, there are some, if you do Google search, you'll find it with examples how you can have calculate. Even when I was going through the Startup India course when it was launched, so even there a couple of formulas what they discussed, which will help you have an idea about your market valuation.
Okay.
But I'll recommend them to use only to have an idea, not to have that fixed in your PPTs and say, okay, this says so I'm at. No, don't go by that. It's only for
Okay.
a video, you can use it.
That's a great message, sir.
Yeah,
Seriously, that's a
yeah.
great, helpful message. So, like
Yep.
at the end of this session, like what will be your message to school students or the college students who are thinking to enter this particular ecosystem of entrepreneurship? Like, what should they follow to avoid those bumps every individual had been following since a long term in the ecosystem?
See, as far as entrepreneurship concerned, whether it is school kids, college kids, or retired personnel, working professionals, anybody is welcome because there is no age limit. Okay.
Hmm.
See, we have one of the youngest entrepreneur in the world from India. They are from Chennai. They started their company at one is at 8 years age, one is at 9 years age. The company
Wow.
is called Dimensions. Okay, so they are the youngest CEOs. I think now they will be, I think 14, 15, 14, 16, I think now. At the same time, we also have somebody like Colonel Sanders who started company at 65 years of age. We have Walt Disney who started late. Okay, so there's no age. Okay, so what I tell even when I go to colleges and I meet people when they send me the startup proposals is, first of all, they come up with proposals which are already existing in the market. They say, I want to start online groceries. I said, what is the use? There are already huge players in the market and you don't have a USP. You're not very different to them. Why would a customer leave the established brands and come to you? So they don't have
Absolutely.
an answer. They don't have an answer there. They want to do it just because they saw, let's say, Big Basket is successful, or Groffer is successful, or Spencer is successful. That does not work like that. Okay, so I tell them first of all, you be very clear on your idea and what is the purpose of that particular startup you want to start. What is the goal of it?
Okay.
Okay. Then you have to do lots of research. Okay, you can do a research. Suppose the type of idea which you're talking about, if it is already existing in the market, understand, research on them and see how they are working. Are they into profits? Are they into losses? What are do a SWOT analysis? Basically, what are the strengths, weaknesses? What are the threats they're going through? Like in a situation like COVID or natural calamities, how did they cope up? Understand these things. Okay. Now, a lot of people, when I say research, they normally do a Google search. So I tell them, boss, research is different, Google search is different. The research is when actually meet people, discuss things, and take their feedback. That is called research.
Yeah.
And second thing is not everything on Google is correct. Okay, not everything on Google is correct. Okay, so you can take some information. There are some certain reports which comes from genuine organizations. You can read them. It's okay. But actual research happens when you go and talk to customers. let's say there was an idea of somebody, they wanted to start this online hairdresser shop, you can call barber shop, which nowadays is one of the services of Urban Club. So I used to tell them, okay, if you want to do it, do one thing. First of all, go to the market, at least the people who know, ask them. Because if there is a company where you book online for hair cutting and they come to your house and do deliver service, would you prefer that? Would you prefer somebody coming to your house and do it, or would you prefer going to a salon and get the work done? Collect the feedback. Okay. If you find out a lot of people who are really interested in taking this online hair service or something, definitely there is some market. Okay. And when we talk about meeting, you need to meet people from different age backgrounds, different, let's say gender specific, you have to be geography specific, a lot of things are there. Okay. Now, for example, in situation like COVID, definitely you cannot go out, barber shop anywhere. So definitely people will prefer online services because they will come with gloves and all the medical equipment, everything to make sure things are clean. So it depends. So do proper research. And once you've done all these things, create a perfect business model.
Okay.
And have at least one unique feature, which is your ESP, what we call basically. Okay. Then once that is also done, discuss your business model with some people who know about it, who understand startup or entrepreneurship. Sorry. Or discuss with somebody whom you can trust. It can be your parents, it can be a professor, it can be your seniors, it can be your friends, anybody. Somebody whom you could. Okay. And once you're ready, you want to launch it, try to make sure you have at least one mentor on board who has experience in entrepreneurship or at least who is subject specific. Like for example, there's a startup which came up to me. They made a device using machine learning, which will be used in four-wheelers, spirit trucks and everything. So let's say as a business model or taking their product to the next level, I might be able to help. But if they want to make advancement in the device itself, so I might not be correct person. They need somebody who is very good in machine learning to do that. So there they need tech mentor. Okay. So depending on the requirements of your product or service you have, you need to identify mentors accordingly. Okay. There are a lot of startups I have seen. They say, the idea is ours. We came with the idea, so we can do it by ourselves. It does not work everywhere. Because sometimes a mentor plays a huge role in success of a business. Right? See, even Arjuna was successful because of Bhishma. Eklavya was successful because he admired Bhishma and not Bhishma, Dronacharya. Dronacharya. Yeah. Okay, Eklavya, we all know that stories. Okay, so definitely there are situations that mentors are required. So yeah, that's how I suggest to have a mentor on board.
So thank you so much for this session, and I hope students from within this zeal creating a startup ecosystem who want to become an entrepreneur and have a tag on their chest like they are successful entrepreneurs will learn a lot of things from your side. And I hope if you're getting applications from our students in future for your being a mentor to them, I hope you'll be doing a very good mentorship to them, and I'll hope we get few unicorns not on papers but from customer feedback.
Absolutely, I would love to support startups. I'm already mentoring a lot of startups, and I welcome ideas and everything. And so they're always welcome to approach me through my social media channels and everything if they have any good ideas and anything. And if I am not able to mentor them, if they need technical mentor, I can always connect them to the right person. That also I can do that. So that won't be a problem. Yeah.
That is so nice of you, sir. Thank you so much for have this fruitful conversation with us in Visheshagya Sammelan. Have a great day, sir, and stay safe from this COVID-19.
Thank you, and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.